Bruchim Abaim, welcome to the translation of the message from the Torah Portions, Shoftim, in the name of YSHUA, and welcome YSHUA. Again, one more time, we need you, our Master, to teach us about your perfect love, about your justice, about you, our Judge. I invite you, my brother, to just open your heart and let YSHUA to write it down, all his judgments and commandments, so his ways will be written in our hearts for us to dwell in his presence, to be restored completely. Hallelujah, because the time of restoration of all things is being manifest today as life in abundance reaches us. And all the honor and all the kavod, glory is for our precious Redeemer, Yeshua HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Shalom Aleichem.
Parasha, Shoftim. Judges and officers you shall appoint to you in all your gates. Deuteronomy 16, verse 18. The word for judges is Shoftim. This is the name of the portion of the Torah that we're going to read in chapter 16 of Deuteronomy. We have advanced in this last book of the Torah, and we give the glory to YSHUA for this, because when you begin to read the Torah from the beginning, from the book of Genesis, it is hard to imagine that the day will come when you're actually going to read all the portions and to comment concerning this. And this is all thanks to Him. The cycle of the Torah from Genesis to Deuteronomy, it is made so that it can be heard more than once, according to how the person can assimilate all revelations and instructions that the Lord gives. This does not mean that we're going to finish to read the Torah in the moment that we finish listening to these recordings, but we will continue forever learning about the Torah. And as we advance in the reading, YSHUA will teach new things and reveal them. And therefore we begin with a prayer, giving Him the kavod to our Melech HaMalachim, King of Kings. And we pray in your name, YSHUA. We bless you, we praise you, we give you thanks for everything you give to your people, for protecting them, for blessing us, for giving us places to sleep, for blessing us with clothing and food and everything that your beloved disciples need. We give you thanks because you are righteous and just, for from you come righteousness and justice, because you instruct your people and you protect our children and our loved ones and our parents and our grandparents. You protect all and you make mercies to thousands, to those who keep your commandments. We give you thanks for this mercy, this great mercy that you have with your people. We ask you that you would open a door of understanding today, that you would open the heavens, and that you would come and visit us, Master, Teacher, YSHUA, with your teaching, with your ruach, with your truth, with healing and deliverance that your people are in need to have, each one of us, for the restoration that each of us needs, YSHUA, for the salvation that we also need for our homes, for our loved ones. We depend on you for everything. You are an Elohim of miracles, and we believe that not only you can do this, but you desire to do this, a miracle in our lives. And we invite you that you would bless us, that you would heal us and deliver us from all oppression of the enemy, YSHUA, and that you would plant in us truths that would make us free and that would give much fruit, YSHUA, and that your people would be more and more united in your truth, and that truth would advance in our homes and in our families, YSHUA, touching the hearts. We invite you, YSHUA, that your kingdom might advance and that the heavens may be permanently open over us. There is no one like you, and we know that you can do this and so much more, for you are powerful, for we know you are good and faithful, and we praise you and we exalt you. Exalted be the name of YSHUA the Messiah, and made great that wonderful name, which the name you have given us, so that we can call upon it and we can do all these things in your name. Lord, we embrace you. We are in awe of your mercies and the work that you have done in our lives. And prophetically, we see the works you're going to do in our homes and in our loved ones, and we are in awe and we are content, and we bless you, for only you are worthy to have the glory and the honor. YSHUA, our Elohim, blessed are you, and only you are holy, you, the King of glory, Yeshua Mashiach, Melech HaKavod. We give to you the glory and the honor, and we give you thanks for having heard this prayer. Thank you, Master Yeshua. Toda Rabinu Yeshua, for you have come to teach us concerning your Torah. Hallelujah. In the name of Yeshua the Messiah. Amen. For great you are and great are your works. We praise Yeshua. We continue to praise him as we are reading, for there is no one like him. We are in the book of Devarim, words, things. It's called Deuteronomy. In chapter 16, beginning at verse 18, we read, Judges and officers you shall appoint to you in all your gates, which YSHUA your Elohim gives to you according to your tribes, and they shall judge at the people with judgment just. Not you shall pervert justice, not you shall show partiality, nor take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of righteousness. Justice, justice, it says it twice. You shall follow, that you may live and inherit it, the land which YSHUA your Elohim is giving you. Not you shall plant for yourself a wooden image, which it is spelled as ASHRAH. Any tree near the altar to YSHUA your Elohim, which you build for yourself, and not shall set up for you a sacred pillar, which hates YSHUA your Elohim. Chapter 17. Not you shall sacrifice to YSHUA your Elohim a bull or sheep which has in it blemish, any flaw serious, for an abomination to YSHUA your Elohim it. If there is found among you within one of your gates which YSHUA your Elohim gives you, man or a woman who has been at wicked in the sight of YSHUA your Elohim, in transgressing his covenant, and who has gone and served gods other, and worshipped them, and either the sun or the moon, or any host of the heaven, which not I have commanded, and it is told you, and you hear of it, then you shall inquire diligently, and indeed true, certain, the thing that has been committed an abomination this in Israel, then you shall bring out at a man that, or at woman that, who has committed at thing wicked this to your gates, at that man or at woman, and shall stone with stones, and to death. On the testimony of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall be put to death whoever is deserving of death. Not he shall be put to death on the testimony of witness 1. The hands of the witnesses shall be him against the first to be put him to death, and the hands of all the people afterward, so you shall put away the evil from among you. Pay attention that this commandment of stoning to death a man or a woman that was practicing idolatry is not against the 10 commandments. The revelation is that the commandment of the 10 commandments, it says, you shall not murder, and this is not considered as murder, for this is a judgment that is exercised. But we are now free of this, and we do not need to exercise this judgment because we have become slaves to YSHUA. But pay attention that the Torah does contemplate the death penalty for grave and severe things. This might not seem grave according to the values of the society of today, especially of Latin America and Israel, perhaps the United States. It doesn't seem grave to have worship to idols, but to the eyes of the Lord, it is. And believe me, our Elohim does know of judgment, and he knows what is good and what is evil, and the Lord gives his instruction, for this is something that he hates. The instruction requires that there must be witnesses. There must be at least 2 to 3 witnesses, and the witnesses are the first to stone the guilty person. And this also helps so that the people will not come forth as witnesses, false witnesses, that is. For if a person desires to be a false witness, not only do they have that sin over them, but they have to go and be responsible for the death of the people with whom they are accusing. And this also keeps people from abusing this. And then, of course, it stops it because it has to be on the grounds of the witnesses of 2 to 3 people. It is there in the Torah, but with certain conditions. And the first condition is that there must be 2 to 3 witnesses, and the second condition is that the witnesses themselves must be the ones who commence the stoning. And the third condition is that all the people have to go and stone the people. Verse 8, if arises for you a matter which is too hard to judge between guilt for bloodshed, between one judgment or another, or between one punishment or another, matters of controversy within your gates, then you shall arise and go up to the place which chooses YSHUA your Elohim in it. And you shall come to the priest of the Levites and to the judge. There shall be in days that and inquire, and they shall pronounce upon you a sentence of the judgment. And you shall do upon to the terms the sentence which they pronounce upon you in place that which chooses YSHUA, and you shall be careful to do according to all that they order you, according to the sentence of the law in which they instruct you, and according to the judgment which they tell you, you shall do. Not you shall turn aside from the sentence which they pronounce upon you to the right or to the left. And the man who acts presumptuously and not will listen unto the priest who stands to minister before their YSHUA your Elohim, or unto the judge, and shall die man that, so shall you put away the evil from Israel. And all the people shall hear and fear, and not act presumptuously longer. Therefore the Lord asked the people that if the judgment is hard or complicated, they must go to the place where the Lord decides to place his name, and they must submit to the verdict without being rebellious to the judgment. And nowadays, how would you explain this, since there is no service of the temple in Jerusalem? This continues to work in a different manner for those who have recognized YSHUA as a judge, and if you have not, this is the moment that you must do so. Say it with me, brethren. YSHUA, I receive you and I recognize you and I proclaim you my judge. Now, the discernment to understand when the Lord is judging you by a person, it is planted in your heart in the name of YSHUA. And if you have a hard or complicated case, the same Elohim has decided that you want to attend to the judgment of men, then you follow the direction of the Lord. And this is when we must pray in all things, and whatever the judge decides, it will be what you will receive as the judgment of the Lord. But it can also function in a different manner. For example, there is a difficult situation and you don't know what to do, and you go to a brother and you explain to them what you can do, and he gives you a judgment from the Lord, that you must be sensitive to this. You understand the judgment of the Lord and what you must do through this brother. Then you must be able to understand that it is YSHUA who's speaking through this brother, and you must accept the judgment and submit. The Lord warns at the end in verse 12 of 17, says that whoever acts with pride or haughtiness and does not accept the judgment of the priest. Or you say, well, we don't have a priest. It's true, we don't know who is a priest, but the Lord knows, and he might use, believe me, anyone to exercise a judgment over the life of another brother. The point is that we submit ourselves to YSHUA as our judge, and we pronounce him our judge as our good judge, and we submit to his good judgments as he works in another person. This is not something that is an old passed on instruction, but this is a very present instruction today, in the warning of not submitting to the judgment of the Lord to be done by the judge or the priest. It is here at the end, and the Lord is warning us something, and they're not old-fashioned words that have passed, but today, when YSHUA speaks through a brother as a judge, you must submit, and I also have to submit, beloved brethren. And I want to add one more thing before we continue our reading, what I was saying in verse 3 of chapter 17, when the Lord warns that you cannot bow down and worship the host of heaven like the sun and the moon and the stars. My warning is this: these are spiritual powers of darkness. They're, in fact, the enemy operates through these things. And nowadays in our society, our modern society, our Western society, I'm not going to speak of Africa, where it's a different type of society in many ways, but it is a society that is dominated by humanistic spirits and of all that kind of spirit. And to worship the sun, the moon, the stars, the host of heaven is something that might seem stupid before the humanistic spirit or of science. How can someone bow down to something? Of course, but the pressure that these spirits bring over society makes it that they don't seem to be doing it in general terms, but the enemy is trying and making the people to worship in a different different form, the stars, the moons, the sun, the hosts of heaven, and he does it through science and through humanism and logic. So nowadays we're able to see that in this Western Occidental societies, there is a cult given to these stars, to the heavenly host through science, astronomy, and this is the manner in how these idols are able to come to a modern day society, which is humanistic. They do it through science, and they occupy a similar as they did in the past. The difference is that people don't bow down before them, but they will transform into idols, and you can see that it becomes like a passion to investigate the stars and what happens in the heavenlies in certain people, and it comes out of proportion and out of measure, and you commence to praise and worship the creation rather than the creator. And this is how it happens nowadays, and you're able to better discern in your heart, but understand that the powers are still operating, and the Lord warns for those who do these things, the judgment is severe. It's true that the manner in which idolatry and worship are done today is different from the past. It is still there, that the Lord YSHUA will liberate us and deliver us from all of these things. And we give only praise to the King of Kings, Yeshua HaMashiach. And we're going to allow him to teach us the science of the Most High, the true wisdom. Continuing in verse 14, when you come to the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you, and possess it, and dwell in it, and say, I will set over me a king, Melech, like all the nations that are around me, surely you shall set over you a king whom chooses Yahuwah your Elohim. From among your brothers you shall set over you king. Not you may set over you man a foreigner who not your brother is, but not he shall multiply for himself horses, nor cause to return at the people to Egypt to multiply horses, for Yehu has said to you, you shall return way this again, and neither shall he multiply for himself wives, unless turn away his heart and silver and gold, nor shall he multiply for himself greatly. And it shall be when he sits on the throne of the kingdom, that he shall write for himself at a copy of the Torah. Pay attention for what this is saying. Therefore you will write, he shall write for himself et Aleph Tav, a copy of the Torah. This, the Torah. The Torah is the Aleph Tav. He is the verb. He is the word. It is YSHUA. Hallelujah. That he shall write for himself et a copy of the Torah, this in a book before from the priests, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read it all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear et Yehu his Elohim, and be careful et all the words of the Torah, this, and et statutes these to observe, that not may be lifted his heart above his brothers, and not may he turn aside from the commandment, the right or the left, that he may prolong days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Pay attention, brethren, that in this moment, being in the desert, Elohim already knew what was going to happen with the children of Israel in the future, that they would desire to have a king just like the nations around them. And this they did, Israel. And we see here that they give a warning that this king shall not accumulate gold or horses or women. So much was been written about this, and yet King Solomon was exactly the person who gathered horses and many women and much gold. And I'm not pointing the finger against him. He had wisdom, and he had the wisdom of the highest. But I want you to meditate upon this. And when we meditate on this, we don't place our heart in a position that we can justify the position that our heart has. But let us think of King Solomon and what he had and all the riches. The richness that King Solomon had, he didn't seek them out, but they were given as a gift from the Lord. So he accumulated gold, but that was a gift from the Lord himself. When King Solomon asked for wisdom, the Lord says that he will give it to him, and he will add to him riches. When it comes to the Torah, things don't function with logic. You cannot make a dry, straightforward judgment, an absolute judgment. For here it says he will not accumulate gold. But King Solomon accumulated much gold. So a dry, logical judgment will say that he was doing the wrong thing, a wicked thing. Oh, beloved brethren, we are so small and we understand so little. When YSHUA himself says to not make judgments because we don't have the tools to correctly judge. YSHUA is the judge. Let us come close to him. It is always right to ask YSHUA what is his judgment, and he is always good, and it is good to seek it, but the judgments we obtain them as to the measure that we are close to him, or if we are attending to the logic of our minds, for the word shows that his word is a two-edged sword that can act to save and redeem as to kill. On the side of this, Elohim orders all kings of Israel to have a copy of the Torah so that he might read it and that his heart might not be lifted up, so that as you learn the commandments, your heart is not raised up. Every governing person in every country should have a copy of the Torah. The Torah is not old-fashioned, for the Torah is what affirms all of creation and sustains it. I, by the grace of the Lord, have been able to share and take rolls of the Torah to two presidents, to the president of Colombia and to the president of Chile. These two presidential houses have a copy of the Torah scroll to the governors, and that this may be prophetic to all the countries of Latin America, and that they may commence to walk in the paths and the ways of the Most High. And therefore, brethren, let us keep this in prayer. The time is short, the redemption is near, and it must come near, and we must run to the arms of YSHUA. And the Lord warns us that his people must humble themselves and pray so that he might heal the land. Chapter 18. No shall have the priests, the Levites, all the tribe levy, part nor inheritance with Israel. The offerings made by fire of Yehu and his portion they shall eat. Therefore inheritance no shall have they among their brethren. Yehu is their inheritance, as he said to them. And this shall be due of the priest from the people, from those who offer a sacrifice, whether bull or sheep, and they shall give to the priest the shoulder and the cheeks and the stomach, the first fruit of your grain and of your new wine and your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep, and you shall give him, for him has chosen Yehu, your Elohim, out of all your tribes to stand to minister in the name of Yehu, him and his sons for all time. So if comes a Levite from one of your gates among all Israel, from where he dwells there, and comes with all the desire of his mind to the place which chooses Yehu, that he may serve in the name of Yehu, his Elohim, as all his brothers, the Levites, who stand there before Yehu. Oh, this commandment is beautiful. It says that when the Levite lives among one of the cities, and when he comes with all his desire and all his soul to the place Yehu has chosen, that he may serve in the name of Yehu his Elohim, as all his brothers, the Levites who stand there before Yehu. This says that the Levite has access to serve the Lord there all the days of his life. Hallelujah. The ministry of the Levite is alive today, and these are the true worshipers. It's not about being a musician to be a Levite, as much has been spoken. It is a worshiper, a minister unto the Lord, and of course a musician too, but not necessarily a musician is a Levite. This is alive and dispersed among the nations, and it is also here in Israel. And we remember that our same self YSHUA had descendants and bloodline of priests. Do you remember that the relative of Miriam was married to Zechariah the priest, and therefore there was a bloodline of priesthood and of the tribe of Yehudah, a king and a priest, Melchizedek, the tribe of Judah, for the kingdom from Judah, and for Levi the priesthood. And the blessing is left in Ephraim, for YSHUA gives the blessing to Ephraim. Hallelujah. Verse 8. Equal portions they shall have to eat, besides what comes from the safe of his inheritance. When you come into the land which Yehu your Elohim is giving you, not you shall learn to follow the abominations of nations, those. Not there shall be found among you who makes pass through his son or his daughter the fire, who practices witchcraft, a soothsayer, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who conjures spells, or consults a medium or a spiritist or one who calls up the dead for an abomination to Yehu, all who do these things, and because of the abominations these, Yehu, your Elohim, drives out them from before you. Blameless you shall be before Yehu, your Elohim, for nations these which you will dispossess to soothsayers and diviners listened, but as for you, not so, has appointed such for you. Yehu, your Elohim. This case of wizards and warlocks and witches, it is detestable to the Lord. All witchcraft, all manner of divination, of medium, it is detestable to the Lord, and this is a reason why the Lord is taking out all these nations and brings the judgment over them, and He uses the children of Israel to apply this judgment by taking them out of the land. The dark forces that operate, that have been mentioned here, are real. They're not true because only YSHUA is true, and in the name of YSHUA, they can be destroyed. All of them. The great amount of the affliction that the believers have is not by witchcraft or curses of these, but because they are far away from the commandments of the Lord. If a person is walking in the commandments of the Lord, they cannot be affected by any of these things, but you must pay attention. We must destroy them and discern them. If anyone does any kind of witchcraft against a son of the Most High, this person can break it, and any demonic assignment can be expelled in the name of YSHUA. There is a part that we must do, which is expel the demons that might be assigned by some type of any of these things that were mentioned here, and they must be broken in the name of YSHUA. All witchcraft and enchantment, and I break it in the name of YSHUA, and to break all of these types of dark things that we must do, each one of us, and we must expel these unclean spirits, because it is not something that we depend on a brother to do on behalf of us, but this is something that we must make it a part of our lives. But what I want to say again is that curses come from disobedience to the commandments. The greater part of the afflictions that believers have nowadays is because of the disobedience to the commandments. Because to be cursed or blessed is something that comes from the covenant. Do you remember when the kings would sometimes find the scroll of the Torah and something would jump to their eyes and they would say, "Oh, the curse of which this book is speaking about has come upon us." What book? The Torah. Can you see it? The greater part of the afflictions that is over the believers, over all of those who belong to Israel, comes from disobeying the commandments and not from these type of things. These are horrific things and they do have some effect, but it can be broken in the powerful name of YSHUA. However, if you are not in the commandments, keeping the Torah and the covenant, then some of these things that could be done against believers, they can operate without being annulled because of the disobedience to the commandments. All of this that comes here, witchcraft, this is so small in comparison to the power of our Elohim. The one who walks in righteousness and keeps the commandments, he will not suffer evil. This is what the covenant promises. Now we will read where the Lord promises a prophet. This is in verse 15. A prophet from your midst, from your brothers, like me, will raise up for you, Yehu, your Elohim. The one who's speaking here is Moshe. And he says that Elohim himself will raise up a prophet that we must listen. Him you shall hear, according to all that you desired of Yehu your Elohim in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, Not let me hear again, Aleph Tav, the voice of Yehu our Elohim. Do you see what it says here? It says, do not let me hear again, Aleph Tav. The people did not want to hear the voice of Aleph Tav, the voice of Elohim, the voice of YSHUA. Here it says, let me hear again, Aleph Tav, the voice of Yehu, our Elohim, and et the fire great this, not let me see any more, and lest I die. And said Yehu to me, is good what they have spoken. A prophet I will raise up for them from among their brothers like you, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them Aleph Tav, all that I command him. And it shall be that man, whoever not will listen unto my words which he speaks in my name, I will require it of him. Do you remember YSHUA said, I come in the name of the Father? This is a great revelation. The great revelation is to understand that he is the same. The same Av is the same Ben. The same Father is the same Son. He is the same Ruach, for Elohim is one, for Yehu is one. That is a great revelation. And he speaks in a manner or in another, and he's not absolute in the way he speaks. It is not comprehensible, but it is able to be believed. And in order to understand it, we must believe it, as YSHUA has shown. So the prophet that he will be raised up is Elohim. It is raising himself up. It is YSHUA. It is the Aleph and the Tav. And he will speak to them. Aleph Tav. He is a prophet like Moshe. How is it possible that he will be YSHUA like Moshe? Just like Moshe, what was so special about Moshe? Moshe was teaching the commandments of the Lord. And it says, prophet like you. The Lord says to Moshe, like Moshe, who was coming to teach the commandments of the Lord. And this is why the Lord, YSHUA, continues to teach the commandments, like in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Anyone who keeps these commandments, even the smallest one, and teaches others, great shall he be called in the kingdom of heaven. And he speaks concerning the Torah. We have disconnected because of the Greek, of the root of the Torah, of the commandments. And the teachings of YSHUA were for those who knew the commandments. And therefore it is necessary to know the Torah first and then hear the voice and the words of YSHUA. Remember, the example that I always have given is the rich man when he runs and falls before YSHUA and asks him, Teacher, what can I do in order to have eternal life? YSHUA answers, keep the commandments. Now YSHUA himself gives the example of the parable of Lazarus, which in Hebrew is Eleazar, and the rich man. Do you remember the parable? There was a rich man and there was a poor man called Eleazar. And Eleazar dies and is taken with the angels into the heavens. And the rich man dies and he goes into hell. And being there, he is begging as he sees from afar off Eleazar. And he's able to see Abraham. And the petition and the request, his final request, is to send Eleazar to where his brothers are, for he had 5 brothers, so that they would not end up going into this place of torture. And what are the words of YSHUA the Messiah? This is what YSHUA says. They have Moshe and they have the prophets. They must hear them. This is what YSHUA said. It is a parable about Abraham saying it, but it came from the mouth of YSHUA, what I am saying. They have their Moshe and the prophets. They must hear them. If they don't hear them, they will not hear if someone rises from the dead. Beloved brethren, do you know in this time how many people have been risen from the dead and have brought exactly the same message? How many brethren of different places in the world that have been dead for different reasons, whether accidents or because the Lord has taken himself their lives in order to visit hell, or so they can visit heaven, and they have brought the message and described what they have seen. But what I can warn you is that the same words of YSHUA say that we have Moshe and the prophets and that we must listen to them. What YSHUA is saying to us is that we listen to Moshe and the prophets, then we're not going to go to hell. And this is the moment where we must open our eyes to understand, and in order to understand that the words and the teachings of YSHUA are different from the teachings of Christianity. For YSHUA came to teach us the Torah just as Moshe. This is why Elohim himself says that he will rise up a prophet like unto him, like Moshe, like the one that teaches the Torah. Just as he teaches the Torah, he will rise up a prophet that is YSHUA, the Messiah of Israel, and he fulfills this prophecy of the prophet. This is why YSHUA himself is our prophet too, and we must recognize him as our prophet. To remember the Samaritan woman where she says to him, I can see that you are a prophet. YSHUA is the prophet. The promised prophet is YSHUA himself, and he comes like Moshe to teach the Torah, and the teachings of the Torah are in the teachings of YSHUA. And he himself says that in order to have eternal life, we must keep the commandments to the rich man. And he himself says that if we don't hear Moshe and the prophets, we're going to go to hell, just as in the parable of the rich man and Eleazar, Lazarus. And in the book of Revelation, there appears that the saints of the last days are those who keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony and the faith of YSHUA the Messiah. These are the ones who are sealed, who have all the blessings of the Torah over them. And this is why the enemy cannot destroy them, for the covenant with the Most High is alive in them. And this is what you have been called, beloved brethren, who is listening to this, to return to the ways of YSHUA and to discard all of men's teachings, and especially be clinging to the words of YSHUA with discernment, with love, knowing YSHUA and recognizes him as our prophet himself, for he is our prophet like Moshe, and we must say to him, YSHUA, I confess you, I receive you, I proclaim you my prophet in the name of YSHUA. Say it now, brother, sister, that this relationship might be restored. He must be our rabbi, our teacher, our professor, and we are his disciple, and he is our prophet. If we want to understand and discern the voice of YSHUA when he speaks through another brother, through the function of prophet, then we must proclaim that YSHUA is our prophet as well. And this can save your life, my beloved brethren. This is not a game. We must be able to discern the voice of the Lord and to discern in what tone he speaks. For my sheep hear my voice, and they recognize it, and they follow me. And this is why we have said to YSHUA that he is our shepherd. But what about the prophet? The Lord has sent his gifting through the Ruach HaKodesh and has given the gifting of prophecy, but it operates through the confession of YSHUA as our prophet. The same thing that happens with the restoration between the shepherd and the sheep, confessing him as our shepherd and as our teacher, as well as a disciple and a professor, confessing YSHUA as our professor. And we give YSHUA thanks because he came to teach us the Torah, and we come in fully to follow him, and we discard and reject following any man. In this hour, let us return to YSHUA and to what he taught. I continue reading verse 20. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name, at which not I have commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of God's other, and shall die, prophet that. And if you say in your heart, how shall we know Aleph Tav, the word which not has spoken Yehu? When speaks a prophet in the name of Yehu, and if not does happen the thing, or come to pass it, the thing which not has spoken Yehu, presumptuously has spoken it the prophet, not you shall be afraid of him. This has been abused somewhat. We're going to speak of prophets and prophecies, remembering always that the prophets and the prophecies came until Yohanan, John. The gifting of prophecy that is active in the brethren is not the same gifting that was in the prophets like Isaiah, Zechariah. It is the same gift, but it is not, for it operates in a different level nowadays, and it can come to very high levels and very precise. When a brother speaks a prophecy from the Lord, first and foremost, the words of the Lord, they might speak in celestial or heavenly terms, and it is necessary to pray and go to YSHUA himself to place this word so that it might be open and it might be understood and the message might be received. Many times, many of the brethren who have the prophetic gifting and many of them who do not have it, but the Lord operates sometimes in them giving some prophecy, what happens is they hear an unclean spirit, And this one can lead to prophesy a lie or even to prophesy a truth, because there are things that the enemy knows. A person will speak something that will come to pass, and it comes to pass indeed. And when this prophecy that a prophet says and it comes to pass, it does not necessarily mean that the Lord was speaking. Yes, just as you're hearing this, many times strange spirits will reveal things and speak things that man does not know. Not everything that is supernatural comes from the Lord. This is why, beloved brethren, it is not if something is fulfilled or not, or if this prophet says something. It is about discerning the voice of the prophet, who is YSHUA, our prophet. All the different brethren with this gifting, we have made mistakes to prophesy something that we heard spiritually or from some demon instead of the Lord is very common in the house of faith. And the manner is very simply to come out of this cycle is that everyone recognizes YSHUA as shepherd and teacher and prophet. And it is also to test the spirits. When you hear a voice, you must ask this voice and order it to reveal what is his name. And the answer must be YSHUA, brethren. And if YSHUA is not the answer, then it is not the Lord speaking. What it can be, and it's possible that the message can be given through an angel, because there are messenger angels that can bring a message. And in the case that you speak and ask what is the name, and the name is one of the angels, then you can order it and also ask him. In the name of YSHUA, you can ask to the spirit that is speaking, who is your Lord? Like so. I order you that you would say, what is your name? In the name of YSHUA, when you hear any prophetic voice that sounds like prophecy, and I order you that you would not lie to me. And if you hear the name of any angel, you can ask it. I order you in the name of YSHUA, who is your Lord? And when the voice of YSHUA is recognized, there is no longer a need to ask, because we have recognized and known the voice of our prophet YSHUA. This should be a natural thing, a normal thing for us to do. We should be able to understand this perfectly and in a natural manner, and we should all be in the same accord concerning this, discerning and expelling strange spirits and leaving only the angels of the Lord and the Ruach HaKodesh to operate in us. But we must pay attention that there is no spirit of lack of faith or doubt in us, for it is impossible to believe the Lord when he speaks if we are under the dominion of a spirit of lack of faith or doubt. Therefore, when we want to discern a prophetic word to know if it comes from the Lord or not, I've given you tools, but we also need wisdom, and we must use wisdom to discern. We cannot discard forever a brother because he heard a strange spirit, as none of the brethren in the operations that the Ruach has given can be just discarded because he made a mistake. The prophets of today, it is not the same as the old time. It operates in a different manner unless the Lord rises a prophet in the same manner of the prophets of old. He is Lord in order to be able to do this, and we're not going to enclose ourselves and box ourselves in, but we're going to allow him to be Lord and to do whatever pleases him. And we're not going to put rules that can destroy the work of the Lord that he's doing in a brother in order to teach him his voice. Continuing on chapter 19. When has cut off Yehu your Elohim et the nations of whom Yehu your Elohim is giving you et land, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and in their houses. 3 cities you shall separate for yourself in the midst of your land, which Yehu your Elohim is giving you to possess. You shall prepare for yourself roads and divide into 3 parts et the territory of your land, which is giving you to inherit Yehu your Elohim, that may flee there any manslayer. This is within the Holy Land, because outside of the Holy Land, on the other side of the Yarden, where there will be established 2.5 tribes including Manasseh, there also will be cities of refuge. Continuing, verse 4. In this the case of the manslayer who flees there that he may live, whoever kills at his neighbor not intentionally, and him not intended harm to him in past time, and as when goes at his neighbor to the woods to cut timber, and swings a stroke his hand, and with the axe to cut down the tree, and slips the head from the handle, and strikes at his neighbor so that he dies, he shall flee to one of cities these, and live, lest pursue the avenger of blood after the manslayer, while is hot his anger, and overtake him, because is long the way, and kills him, and though he not deserve of death, since not he hated the victim in past time. Upon thus I command you, saying, 3 cities you shall separate for yourself. And if enlarges YSHUA your Elohim at your territory, as he swore to your fathers, and gives you at Aleph Tav all the land which he promised to give to your fathers, and if you keep Aleph Tav all the commandments these, and do them, which I command you today, to love Aleph Tav YSHUA your Elohim, and to walk in his ways ever always, then you shall add for yourself more 3 cities besides the 3 these. And lest be shed blood innocent in the midst of your land, which YSHUA your Elohim is giving you an inheritance, and be upon you guilt of bloodshed. But if comes anyone to hate his neighbor, and lies in wait for him, and rises against him, and strikes him mortally, so that he dies, and he flees to one of cities these, then you shall send the elders of his city, and bring him from there, and deliver over him to the land of avenger of the blood, that he may die. Not shall pity your eye him, but you shall put away blood innocent from Israel, that it may go well with you. Can you see, brethren? The cities of refuge are there, but if someone abuses this and goes and murders someone, the person cannot run to any of these cities. It will be taken and given over to the avenger of blood. Let us remember that we cannot avenge ourselves, for YSHUA himself says, vengeance is mine, and we have become his slaves, and I repeat this always. Verse 14, not you shall remove landmark of your neighbor, which have set the men of old in your inheritance, which you will inherit in the land that YSHUA your Elohim is giving you to possess. You cannot move the limit between you and your neighbor. Look, beloved brethren, the limit has been set, and this is the manner that the Lord is giving us to show love. This is an act of love. We must love our neighbor as ourselves, and we cannot move the limit and make our land greater. When YSHUA says that the Torah and the prophets can be summarized, that Elohim is one, and that we must love him with everything, and that we must love our neighbor as ourselves, this is what he refers to, that here in the Torah I can find the details on how to love. And here it says specifically that I cannot move the limit. This is love. Verse 15, not shall rise witness one against a man concerning any iniquity or any sin or offense in any sin that he commits, by the mouth of 2 witnesses or upon the mouth of 3 witnesses shall be established the matter. This is justice. 2 to 3 witnesses to raise up a judgment. The death penalty is possible according to the Torah, but with 2 to 3 witnesses it must be done, and the witnesses themselves will exercise this death penalty. The commandments are repeated once and again. We had read this previously, and it appears again. The Lord decided to have it again for a specific reason. Verse 16, if rises a witness false against any man to testify against of wrongdoing, crime, then shall stand the 2 of men whom between them the controversy before YSHUA, before the priests of the judges who serve in the days those, and shall make inquiry the judges careful, and indeed the witness false, a witness falsely who has testified against his brother, then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brother. Pay attention, brethren. This false witness receives the same punishment that he desired would be upon the person to whom he was falsely judging or accusing. Righteousness and justice. So shall you put away the evil from among you. Verse 20. 20. And those who remain shall hear and fear, and not they shall commit hereafter again such thing evil this among you. And not shall pity your eye, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. I remind you, brethren, that this whole Torah and all this justice that is established here is made according to the intention. We have just read that the person who kills without intention to another, they're not going to be put to death because he did it without intention. And the Lord has made a secure city for him. Can you see it? The judgment is not the same, is not harsh, it is not rude, it is merciful. But for example, if a person goes to murder someone and then they run to one of the cities of refuge, then he will be taken and given over. Why? Because the intention was different. There was premeditation. The justice today around the world are much harsher, and very little mercy is found in them than this justice that is being narrated in the Torah. In the world, they always speak about eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, and it is treated as if it were unjust. But the justice of the Lord is merciful. We have been able to see it once and again. Chapter 20. When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots, people more numerous than you, not to be afraid of them, for YSHUA your Elohim with you, who brought you up from the land of Egypt. So it shall be, when you are on the verge of battle, that shall approach the priest and speak to the people, and he shall say to them, Hear, Israel, you are on the verge today of battle with your enemies. Not to let faint your heart, not to be afraid and not to tremble or be terrified because of them. For YSHUA your Elohim, he goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And shall speak the officers to the people, saying, Who the man who has built a house new and not has dedicated, let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and man another dedicated. And who the man who has planted a vineyard and not has eaten of it, let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and a man another eat of it. And who the man who was betrothed to a woman and not has married her, let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle, and a man another marry her. And further the officers shall speak to the people and say, Who the man fearful and faint-hearted, let him go and return into his house, and lest faint lift off the heart of his brothers like his heart. And so when it shall be, have finished the officers speaking to the people, they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. The wonderful, loving heart of our Lord, who speaks about when a battle is coming near, and all of those who are under these situations, who have constructed a house or planted a vine, or who are in a courtship relationship, they don't go to war. Where have you seen that in any law of man anything like this exists? When has there been any similar situation? In what constitution, in what law, in what country? This is the Torah of Elohim. It is love, and it can be summarized in love, to love the Lord your Elohim with all your heart, who is one, and your neighbor as yourself. This is the love of our Elohim. This is love, and these commandments are love. And this is a blessing that can be read in the moment that you can go to a battle in the spiritual manner as well. In verse 3 it says, Hear, Israel, you are coming near to the battle against your enemies. Do not let your heart be dismayed, and do not be fearful in your heart, and do not be afeared, and do not be terrorized against them. For YSHUA your Elohim is the one who is with you, to go with you and to fight with you against your enemies, to save you. Hallelujah. What a promise, beloved brethren. Remember Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 3, and use it any time you go into any type of battle. Verse 10, When you go near unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim to it peace. And it shall be that if of peace they accept your offer and open to you, then all the people found in it shall be placed to you under tribute and serve you. And if not, will make peace with you, but makes against you war, then you shall besiege it. And when delivers it YSHUA your Elohim into your hands, then you shall strike at every male in it with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones and the livestock and all that is in the city, all its spoil, you shall plunder for yourself, and you shall eat at the plunder enemies which gives YSHUA your Elohim you. Thus you shall do to all the cities far from you, very which not of the cities of nations these are. This instruction of the Torah is concerning faraway lands when the kingdom is expanded. This is the way you proceed. But in verse 16 says, but of the cities of the people, these which YSHUA your Elohim gives you an inheritance, and nothing you shall let remain alive, all that breathes. As I had mentioned in the previous portion, it is a sort of spiritual cleaning that is being done in a city where there is idolatry and witchcraft. Remember, the Lord warns us that there cannot be any wizards and warlords and witches and any type of divination, for this is the reason why the Lord is giving to the children of Israel these lands. For the peoples of these lands have fallen into that. And therefore there is a difference judgment that the Elohim himself exercises with the children of Israel against the people who are overcoming in this land versus against those people who are far away, because the sin of Canaan was so great and the judgments of the Lord are just, and we can trust in him, and these are exercised in a just manner in history, and to exercise righteous and just judgments, and we pray that he would do so very quickly upon the earth. Continuing, verse 17, but utterly you shall destroy them, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite, just as has commanded you, YSHUA your Elohim, to the end that, lest they teach you to do according to all their abominations which they have done for their gods, and you sin against YSHUA your Elohim. When you besiege unto a city for a time long while making war against it to make it not, you shall destroy its streets by wielding against them an axe, if of them you can eat, and them not do cut down for the man's food tree of the field to use in the face of the siege. Only the trees which you know that not trees for food are, you may destroy and cut down, and to build siege works against the city, that it makes with you war until it is subdued. Chapter 21. If is found slain in the land which YSHUA your Elohim is giving you to possess, lying in the field, not it is known who killed him, then you shall go out your elders and your judges and measure to the cities that surrounding from the slain man, and it shall be the city nearest to the slain man, and will take the elders of city that a heifer of herd which not has worked in, which not has pulled with yoke, and you shall bring down the elders of the city that ate the heifer to an valley enduring, which neither is plowed in nor sown, and they shall break neck there et of the heifer in the valley, and shall come near the priests of the sons of Levi, for them has chosen YSHUA your Elohim to minister to him and to bless in the name of YSHUA, and by their word shall be every controversy and every assault. And all the elders of the city that nearest to the slain shall wash at their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley, and they shall answer and say, our hands not have shed et blood this, and our eyes nor have seen. Provide atonement for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, YSHUA, and not to lay blood innocent to the charge of your people Israel. An atonement shall be provided on their behalf for the blood, so you shall put away the blood innocent from among you when you write in the sight of YSHUA. Well, what this commandment is teaching YSHUA here is that it's necessary to make an intercession when there are people that are found murdered close to our cities. The closest city to the place where the dead person was found, they must intercede in this case so that the Lord will not attribute to the city that is closest in his judgments the guilt for that blood. Can you see it, brethren? It is an intercession that must be made. Probably where you live, many are those who have been found dead around the city, and there's a lot of blood that calls out, and at some moment you can come into a place of prayer and ask forgiveness of the Lord for those those murders, as verse 8 says, forgive your people Israel that you have redeemed, and do not attribute innocent blood to your people Israel. And with this, we end the portion of the Torah, Shoftim, and we finish with a prayer also praying and interceding over this that we have read in the powerful name of YSHUA. First and foremost, we want to give you thanks, YSHUA, for having us be blessed through this portion of the Torah, for allowing us to enter into your ways, in your paths, the ancient ways, the ancient paths, and to have the grace to have a time to study and enjoying what you speak to us. Thank you for giving your people commandments, and thank you for blessing us with the commandments. We give you all the kavod and all the tiferet, and thank you for all the instructions that we have read concerning how we are to love and what things we're to do in certain situations concerning you, YSHUA. We love you and we bless you, and we want to intercede for each one of the cities in which each of the brethren who are listening to these recordings may be. There have been many dead who have been found, and much blood has been spilled, and we do not know who may have murdered them. And we ask you in this moment that you would forgive your people, Israel, that you have redeemed, and that you would not attribute that blood against your people. In the powerful name of YSHUA, forgive, YSHUA, forgive your people, Israel, and do not attribute blood against your people, innocent blood against your people. In the powerful name of YSHUA, we proclaim that the calf, the heifer, is the Aleph Tav, YSHUA, and we place our hands and we say, our hands did not spill at the blood that of all of those dead that have been found around the cities where we are, and our eyes did not see, YSHUA. Forgive your people, Israel. Forgive us and do not attribute the guilt. Thank you, YSHUA, for liberating your people of this guilt. In the name of YSHUA, we do it. And along this, we ask that a wave of your Spirit come upon your people that are in the cities, wherever my brethren are listening, your children, your disciples, and that you would bring a wave of your Spirit over the children, that it would touch the children, from the children to the eldest, and that you would transform the lives by entering and having your people to enter to closeness to you, new closeness to you, YSHUA, in your powerful name, YSHUA. And in this time, that is the little bit of time that is left from here until the feast of Sukkot, of Tabernacles, that you would make that your people would begin to escalate and climb and ascend new levels of closeness with you, O Lord. New relationships between king and vassal, between Lord and servant, between prophet and follower, and between shepherd and lamb, sheep, between judge and the judge one. And it might be established with you, that you would transform and become the all in everyone's heart, in the families, in the communities, in the cities, that your people might be redeemed. We give you thanks for your name, salvation, that there would be YSHUA, salvation in this moment in your people, in the powerful name of YSHUA the Messiah of Israel. Amen. Shalom al Israel. Peace be over Israel.